Welcome to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And today I just kind of want to share. I'm doing some candle magic, and I feel like once again, when every time I do magic, it turns out to be a process where I'm going one direction with it, but then I learn and grow while I'm doing it. So if you take nothing from this video, like, the one thing you should take from it is the only way to learn magic is to do it. So if you're reading a book on magic, so I went over to Barnes and Noble and there was this book called like To Light a Black Candle, and it was Greek American magic and very tempting. I'm probably going to buy the book. So I think it's a great introduction into magic. And what I like about it is she said this like Greek American magic is something that you just kind of do almost as superstition and kind of traditional ritual, and didn't really classify itself into a system. So it was just kind of handed down stuff. And then she used an example: when someone dies, you cover reflective surfaces. That could be mirrors, that could be TVs and screens. And the maybe the logic or the superstitious magic behind it was when someone departed, their souls can get lost in reflective surfaces. And isn't that interesting? Because scrying with reflective surfaces is very traditional in magic. And so something that is superstitious may have some truths in it. So you can't just totally disregard it as superstition, fiction, imaginary, fake. There might be some real truths into it. But, it's not just a placebo, it's not just the subconscious. We can't rationalize fully magic. So it becomes a craft and an art and actually part of the human experience. It's not separate from the way we express ourselves and experience the world. So, the last few days, and feeling inspired from the cover of the book to light a black candle, I was like, yeah, it's probably time to light a black candle. And I'm like, I think if I just light a black candle, that I have no beliefs in God, I have no beliefs in angels or divine beings trying to help us. I don't believe in any type of demonic force willing to aid me in my nefarious intentions. So, where is this magic coming from? I think the model of subconscious and consciousness, and that's very limiting. So, being a very challenging individual, thinking outside the box, where is my magic being sourced? And could it be me with no reason and no logic? Could I get some very effective results without a belief system? I would say, who knows? Give it a try. So I was like, first off, when doing magic, you probably need a reason. And I definitely had a reason. My coworkers were getting on my nerves. I've had enough of it. And I was like, the energy is getting really toxic. It's full of Cancer water signs. For some reason, we keep hiring them, and they have a tendency uh, to do some stuff that I find against my Aquarius nature, against my Aries nature, against my Scorpio nature. So should I be sending ill will towards a bunch of people who happen to be uh, doing what's their nature? Probably not. Um, but let's just say it was time to cleanse, time to purge out, release the negative energy. So the black candle was a perfect sign to probably light one. And so the first thing I did is I started drawing. I literally did. I bought the black candle. And when I looked at the black candle, clairvoyantly, I started to see, the steps and the process of what I should be doing and how I should be doing it to an extent. And then, of course, I set that aside. So I saw like amethyst jewels embedded into the candle, like diamond shape, playing card diamond shapes, these purple gems glowing in the black candle. I was like, that's pretty awesome. And I was like, this purple feels purifying and scorpionic, purging and spiritual, everything that I wanted. So let's set that aside for a moment and try to clarify our intentions, you know. So I drew my little candle. And the reality is, I wanted to release all the words that I've been hearing and overhearing. There's a lot of oversharing with certain water signs. And after a while, it just fills my mind with garbage. It's like all these talking heads just because we're bored at work in the slow time. And I'm like, this pointless conversation, this gossip, this drama, I don't want to hear anymore. And then all these thoughts and all this immaturity, all these actions, we're like monkeys trapped in a cage all together, can't escape the time clock. And so I was like, let's start writing it out. I release you words, I release you thoughts, I release you feelings, I release you deeds. And then I was like, okay, let's write this out again. I release you all thoughts, all words, all feelings, all these deeds. And I was like, maybe it would work better if I rearranged it. So instead of just being repetitive, which is going to be 3 times, I should reorganize them, mix them up to make more of an impact. I'm like, that's cool. And so you see how I'm starting off with something, but then it leads into something else. Now there's words to help focus my intentions. And I was like, let's put a chaos star at the bottom. I want something powerful and vengeful. I really want to drive it home that their unconscious behavior is bothering me. And then so I was like, I'm feeling really negative. I'm feeling very vengeful. Like, I wouldn't mind destroying all of them. Like, you know. And I was like, balance, bro. Balance. Should you be doing magic when you're this angry, when you're feeling this hurt, this violated, this disturbed? I'm like, it's not their fault that you're a hermit. It's not their fault that you like silence. It's not their fault. But when you're feeling so aggravated, you just want to lash out. So I'm like, we gotta pause if we can. You gotta dial it down and slow your roll, Onyx. And of course, I wasn't gonna do that. So I eventually, was tired. it turned out to be this long, drawn out process. And in the intensity of those feelings, mixed thoughts, that wasn't the right time to do magic. Um, I mean, it would be really good time to do destructive magic. Am I willing to take on those consequences? I don't know. And then I was thinking, in order to do magic, you have to get involved. And isn't the whole problem is that they're getting you involved and you don't want to be involved? You want to detach, you want to let go. And so it took me a while to figure out it's the reason, the why, which is so important. When you're doing anything, setting a goal, when you're going to go in a certain direction, the more you know the why and the more clarified it is, the more energy you have on it with no resistance. And so you acquire it easier. And the why is I I want peace. I want balance within myself. I want to not be distracted by the 3D world and the muggles all around me. I want my spiritual connection. And so so then I was like, here's my dark, here's my light. Somehow they go together, somehow they don't. And how is this playing out, this thinking process, while I'm trying to do my magic? I think there's a lot of people who do a lot of unethical magic. They just go with a feeling and then they think that's the way to resolve it. If I just decimate my opponents, because I now see them as opponents, because they're opposed to the direction I'm wanting to go, which is peace, harmony. Here you are. You're going to do some black magic in the name of peace and harmony. The answer is yes. And no, you're not. And maybe. So I got my candle. Let me grab it. Dug out a black candle. And I'm like, this is supposed to, just by being a black candle alone, it's supposed to clear out spirits and release negative energy. And I was like, I doubt it. That's not working for my belief system. It's not working for where I am at. But who cares? A candle's a candle. Let's do some candle magic. And so obviously I got some black pepper oil and I put it on there. And I was like, the first thing I need to do is detox. I need to release all this. So I was like, let's put on the oil and push it downward to release it. And then I was like, and so after I was anointing the candle, the magic was already happening. When did the magic start? Probably the day that I intuitively went over to that book and read To Light a Black Candle, and then I opened it up. So when did this process truly begin? And then I was like, okay, fine with this purging. I'm sick of being everyone's sponge, having a Pisces moon. I am sick of taking on all their garbage and then processing it. Why should I be the one to remove that? Maybe I should just give it back and give it back to him hard. So then I was pushing the candle upward. I was like, I give it back to you. You deal with it. You deal with it. And then I was like, they're probably so muggle that when that energy hits them, they'll be like, Onyx is casting black magic against me and I need to protect. And then I'm going to get entangled in an energy war with 3 cancers at work. Not a good idea. I'm like, cancers are a tough sign and they never let go and they're stubborn. I'm like, do you really want to continue? Your goal is to get out of that, to detach, to find some clarity, some headspace, some silence, serenity. Maybe that's not the best idea. So I kind of like drew some pictures for us to follow. So first it was like, let's get rid of it. Let's do a detox. Let's just basically squeeze it out. And then it was like, no, I'm feeling angry and fiery and vengeful. Let's push it out. And so then all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? I think I need another candle. Because at this point in my journey, in this process of creating this spell, this magic, I'm like, I didn't know what the why was yet. I was just feeling angry. And I didn't know I was feeling angry because I've been listening to everyone shit talk at work for so long. I'm like, harmony, love, balance. What is that? Why? Why are we doing this? Is it my fault? So then I started doing some like more self-reflection. So obviously it's probably a good idea for all of our spells to draw it out, map it out, plan it out in advance. So, because it seems like round after round, more clarifying, more understanding, more self awareness. I'm like, Onyx, you got to take responsibility. Maybe you need boundaries. These people don't have boundaries. Water doesn't have boundaries. That's its nature. It kind of like seeps into things and merges with things, and they're all about it. And you're feeling maybe suffocated. Like, what can you do to create boundaries? And why do you feel like you have to listen and problem solve for everyone? It's like you're not their dad. You're not, oh, Pisces. So, so then I was like, all right. The why is I'm feeling disconnected from spirit. I want to remove myself from this. I want to be back feeling centered again. But I also need to stand up for myself, create some boundaries. Can we do this in a non harmful way? But then I'm still feeling vengeful. So maybe just a little bit of an edge. So let's leave the razor blades out of this candle magic spell for now. And as I was thinking balance, I was like, I think I need one of those candles that's like half white, half black, or half black, half white. And I'm like, I understand now why. So here I am working with one candle. I'm understanding. Oh, so that's why some candles are two different colors. Um, I think they're called double action candles. I'm like, I get it. Because now what I want to do is release and detox out what I need to ground out, push out physically on all different levels. But then I also need to release upward. I need two actions. And there's this duality going on, this yin and yang. There's this, I'm seeking the light. And that's why I'm so angry. I'm being blocked by muggles. And then, and so I need to balance that out. I need to take action, the yang white and the spiritual energy white. And then I also need to release what I've absorbed black, light and dark, good and evil. It's all playing out with one candle, you know? So I'm like, but now that I understand I need boundaries, so I do need to release this, but I also need boundaries. And then where am I going? What is the end point? Being back connected to my powerhouse. And I was like, I think it's a blue candle that I need. I need two candles now. So I do have a blue candle, same size, same brand. So I'm like, I need this candle to do its thing while my other candle will do its thing. And so now it's become this, I need to engineer, I need to make a blueprint of this process of what's going on. It's like, first things first, you need to release and give back what's not yours and erect boundaries. And then the second thing is you need to be in alignment and in that freedom, in that space that you need, in that sanctuary that you need, that's not muggle infested. So you need your blue candle. So can I do two actions in one and have my other candle? Yes. So the plan is now changed once again. Now there's two candles. Um, so then I was ready. And this is really funny because I was about to throw away my old wizard's altar because I bought a bookshelf to put all my crystals and make it look cute in my room. And I was like, maybe I don't want my altar. It just usually sits there and does nothing. So, of course, right when you're going to throw it away is the time you're going to use it. So I pulled it out, and I put my candles, on there, and then I was like, you know what? I'm done for today. I'm tired. This has been a 3-hour journey of moving through these energies and feeling the resentment over the past few weeks. And finding out, I started off with revenge and black magic, finding out that's probably not the best option for me. What I need to do is maybe move into the blue candle and be connected to the powers that be that work with me. And then I was like, but shit still needs to be dealt with. Then the intuitive thought hit me. Let's work with water. I mean, they are air signs. Or, sorry, they are water signs. Let's use their own medium because that might be the most direct way. Fire is my medium, but water is theirs. And so I ended up taking a bunch of tektites, putting them in a jar, and then putting a crystal. It's called like a red phantom quartz, Lemurian crystal. I ended up using that as my pointer, and I stuck it in this like skull jar, shot glass. And so it's an open container, and it's sitting by my bed. And I was like, what does water do? It absorbs. There's all that energy. What does the tektite do? It transforms, transmutes, and explodes. It's kind of meteor stone. Perfect. I want to send it all back to him, times 3. And then what does my Lemurian smoky red phantom do? It's my favorite colors. It's smoky quartz, it's red, and it's Lemurian. It's like a signature of myself. And also kind of purified. It's that laser-like resolve. Take your stuff back and goodbye. So I did that and went to bed, and then kind of lucid dreamed I had a crystal in my hand. And I was just giving them back what's theirs. Like, return to sender, no thank you. And so the next day, which is today, I talked to my boss. I go, that was magical and all, but really, maybe you should talk to your boss about what's been bothering you. And so I just like kind of released, and which was hard for me. I don't like being put in a situation where I have to open my mouth and then say stuff that's disconcerting. I feel like it just kind of gets me involved once again. And I'm like, well, let's just get this out of you. Let's speak it out. Let's use the real world. Let's use the chain of command. Yet let's use this. And I voiced what was going on. And it really helped release that from my body. And then I was like, you know what? Now you can be done with that and move on with your life, right? So then I got home and I drew this out, the process of what we were doing. And I was like, let's make a video. Let's make your life, Onyx, your drama, a video. And, if you're going to go through all this pain and suffering, you might as well make a video and share it. So hold on 1 minute. So here we are. I pulled the skull shot glass with the tektites in it and my red phantom smoky Lemurian quartz point with the water. It's doing awesome. It just grabs that negative energy and transmutes or dishes it out the way it needs to. So I really love this. So in a weird way, I wanted to do a candle magic spell, but it ended up being like water and earth spell. So you have to be open to the transformation. So this is, I believe, one of the reasons why there's not big, wonderful grimoires on Magick, because it changes you. So alchemists realized when they were going through the alchemical processes with plants or whatever it was that they were working with, breaking them down to their prime substances and spiritual essence, then recombining them to evolve the plant or make the magic pill or the philosopher's stone or to transmute metals. They realized they weren't separate from what was going on. As the plants were cut, they were cut. As the plants were burned down and reduced, they were on different levels burned down and reduced. And so they, as the plant material, got basically gone through these evolutionary processes through rudimentary scientific means. They went through it. And so when the alchemist actually purified and evolved themselves to the level of gold status, then their lead bar sitting in their laboratory would turn to gold. Like, it can't happen any other way. And this goes into the law of oneness, into all things are connected in the web of life. So, same with black magic. What you send out, you must first have created within yourself. And so then we get this paradox. Was it bad to go into my magical space with the intention to do harmful magic? No. And then did it end up being that? No. It's like going into the dark. You have to go in it, you have to go through it, which is very much a Scorpio lesson. You have to go each level of pain can expand you more into more light, more awareness, and more enlightenment. So it can be a little masochistic. But if you have the knowledge and you know what the why, you know the why and the how, then what you do becomes a form of science and a form of art. So I went into my own darkness. I went into also my own pain, which wasn't classified as darkness. I call that the energy of motive. And then moving through it, it brought me to the place of celebration, celebrating my connection with Source, celebrating, like uncovering my true intention. Because when I started it, I was going for revenge. And as we went through the transformation, I haven't even lit the candle yet, which then it wasn't even necessary at that point. It brought me to the place of where I need to be. It brought more self-awareness through the self-reflection. And this is what you miss, like buying a book in the magic store. It might tell you a few ingredients to gather, some planetary symbols, maybe a chant or two. And they never disclose the transformation that you go through. You cannot do the same spell twice. It's the planet's changed, you've changed, your awareness has changed. And so I feel like until you've experienced going through the transformation of a magical operation, you haven't, I would say that would be next level for a lot of people. So there's outsiders, there's initiates, and then there's degrees within the initiation process to mastership. And if you're not, so this might be the invitation to don't do it polarized, don't do it so marginalized, so limited, point A to point B. Your That's surface. Go deeper, allow yourself to transform within the magical operation, within the spell. So as you invoke the god is, as you summons it, as above, so below, as within, so without. When you understand this, magic can be a first class ticket to enlightenment. You know, I asked my guru, who I studied with for 8 years, who's a very powerful shaman, natural born psychic, you know, mega scorpion, really strong placements in her chart. And I was like, can spirituality and magic be separate? And she said no. And now I would say that is truth. Uh, because the more you learn, the more knowledge you have, the more expanded your awareness and your consciousness, the more light enters, the more you have grown. And so the more you grow, the more you can become aware of and see the nuance of life and expand. Like, think about having that much knowledge and that much power of understanding the ins and outs of life. You won't be negative. Negative implies lack. So it requires you to be dumbed down. It requires you to be bound, limited, you know. But the more you create that wholeness, the more you create completeness, the more things are added unto you. The more powerful you are, the more of a light you are, the farther into the dark you see, the more you see, the more expanded it is. Hence, keeper of the threefold flame. The more luminosity you have to light up the cave that we're all in, the more terrain you can see, you start appreciating the beauty, the wonder, the complexity. It throws you into awe, it throws you into wonder, it throws you into enlightenment. So, whatever direction, wherever you